All right, let's get right into it. Something major has just shifted in one of the most tense, most important waterways on the entire planet. The U.S. has quietly rewritten its rules for the Navy in the Persian Gulf. And what this means, well, it's a really big deal.
And boom, there it is. That's a direct quote laying out the new order. This is a huge change from how things used to be. Before, you had all these hoops to jump through, warnings, de-escalation attempts. Now, it's much more straightforward. U.S. commanders on the water now have the green light to act and act decisively. It's an order without any gray area.
So the big question is, what happens now? A change like this, in a place like this, doesn't just stay local. It sends ripples across the entire globe, affecting everything from trade and energy prices to the very delicate balance of power.
To really get why this is such a big deal, you got to look at a map. It all comes down to one tiny but incredibly powerful stretch of water, the Strait of Hormuz.
When you talk about the stakes here, you really only need one number in your head. Just one. And that number is 20%.
So what's that 20%? That's the amount of the entire world's oil supply that has to squeeze through this one single, narrow passage. Think about that for a second. 1/5 of all the oil we use on the planet. If anything disrupts that flow, you can bet you'll feel it no matter where you live. And that's why this place is known as a geopolitical choke point. It's exactly what it sounds like. A narrow passage where you have a ton of traffic trying to get through. If you can control a choke point, you basically have a hand on the world's economic windpipe. It's a massive strategic prize.
You know, there's this old saying that really hits the nail on the head here. Armies win wars, but navies prevent them. And that's exactly what we're talking about. See, sea power isn't just about fighting battles. It's about controlling the commercial arteries of the world, keeping them open and flowing. A powerful navy can keep the peace, and the global economy running.
All right, so who is this new rule really aimed at? Well, let's be honest, it's no surprise. This is all about cranking up the pressure on Iran.
The message being sent to Tehran is crystal clear, and it works on a couple of levels. First, it's saying, hey, that U.S. blockade, it's not going anywhere. In fact, it's getting tougher. Second, it's a show of force, right? The U.S. Navy is flexing, showing they own that strait day and night. The whole point here is to squeeze the Iranian regime, both economically and militarily.
But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just about Iran. There's a much bigger chessboard here, and the U.S. is also sending a very loud, very clear message to another global player, China.
So how does China fit into this? It's simple, really. A huge amount of that oil flowing through the strait, guess where it's headed? Yep, to China. China's massive economy, its factories, its cities, they all run on that constant flow of energy.
So by tightening its grip here, the U.S. is basically reminding Beijing of a pretty uncomfortable fact. China's energy supply depends on sea lanes that America controls. And this new rule puts Iran's shadow fleet, those off-the-books tankers trying to sneak oil to places like China, in serious jeopardy. It's a powerful demonstration of American sea power, and it definitely puts China in a tricky spot.
Okay, so let's pull all these threads together. When you step back and look at it, this isn't just a change in military orders. This is a major move in the great game of global power in the 21st century.
And it all boils down to a pretty simple formula that has defined global power for ages. Sea power plus air dominance equals global power. If you control the seas and the skies, you can project your influence pretty much anywhere you want. And what we're seeing in the Persian Gulf, it's that idea in action, plain and simple.
And just in case the message wasn't clear enough, Senator Lindsey Graham spelled it out. He said, to those thinking about assisting the Iranian regime, you do so at your own peril. I mean, that's not subtle, is it? It's a warning shot fired not just at Iran, but at anyone, including China, who might think about helping them out. It's a firm line in the sand. So, that's where we are. The U.S. has made a bold move, completely changing the rules in the world's most critical waterway. And now we all have to ask, how will Iran? How will China? How will the other major powers respond? The game has changed, and the whole world is waiting to see what happens next.